This is a website that I use quite frequently. It is the FAA's website. You can find it by doing a web search on FAA Visualize It, as you can see up here is the name. And what this map does is it shows you the entire United States, and it's very useful. You can look at any place that you want to. You can zoom in, you can get right down to street level. You can do very um, customizable type of stuff if you would like to. You can change the background to any one of these choices. It's satellite views or street views or several other views if it'll help for you to be able to find where you're going to fly. Some of the things that pop out at you that I'll explain are these either green or these red circles with what look like boxes. And that is an overlay of something called LANC, or the Low Altitude Authorization and Notification Capability. That's basically a system which provides a method to obtain airspace authorization so that you can fly in controlled airspace. The differences between the greens and the reds are that the greens are operational and the red is not operational as of yet. In the future they may be operational. But these are overlaid over controlled airspace. So as an example, here is Lake City, and you can see that that circle around Lake City is actually the boundary for the class Delta for Lake City. It does not have any LANC capability at all, whereas Gainesville, as you can see, does have LANC capability and it is operational. It's green. You'll happen to see some of these numbers in all of these boxes. Those are the altitudes at which you can request. Right around the airport are all zeros, and even down here around campus are all zeros. The reason around campus being zero is because of the Level 1 Trauma Center at Shands. We have aircraft inbound and outbound at low altitudes all day, all night, 365 days a year. So those are zero boxes. Does not mean that you cannot fly inside Class Delta here over campus. It just means that the way that you obtain an authorization is different. You can't do it through the LANC. You'll have to go in through the FAA's Drone Zone portal and submit an application for authorization to fly in controlled airspace, and then it'll get emailed back to you. Several other things that you can do. If you look down in this bottom left-hand corner down here, you'll see that it's going to be continually giving me updates of where my cursor is, and the cursor is going to be GPS coordinates, or latitude and longitude coordinates actually. So as an example, if I were right here on this State Road 20 on Hawthorne Road, you can see that it gives me the latitude and longitude down there in the bottom corner. If you run across another area, such as up here by Camp Blanding, and you click on it, it will bring up a box and it'll tell you everything about that flight restriction and who the contact person is, the point of contact, and some other information about that area. Again, zoom in, zoom out, look wherever you want, all the way around the map, all the way around the United States. Very useful, great tool for determining airspace. Go try it out. I think you'll be very happy when you get to it.
Some other items that I wanted to try to cover in these short videos or tutorials are some of the apps that are available for you to use for airspace. One of them is an app by the FAA. It's called Before You Fly. You're going to see it. It's right up here on the top row. You can find it, download it for free. When you get it, it's going to go to your area and it's going to say, we're going to try to find out where you are based on your GPS on your phone. And then it's going to bring up the airspace where you're at. It'll give you the latitude, longitude where you're at. It'll tell you if there's any restrictions. It doesn't cost anything. I highly recommend it. Go on in and check it out and to see what's there. It can give you a couple of different layers. This is obviously a layer that has satellite imagery. You can do special use airspace, infrastructure, TFRs, or temporary flight restrictions. It can do all types of different areas, national parks, MTRs. It'll give you everything that we've already started to discuss. You can do street maps, any kind of background that you want. We'll select street maps for this one now. Give you a little bit different look. You can see the shaded area. That shaded area is your Class Delta airspace. And you can see the little icon in the center is where we're at. Very helpful app, very informative. I highly recommend you look at it and try it. Here's another app that I use quite often. You'll see it down here in the bottom. It's called My Radar. I use it especially here in Florida. It's great for summertime. You're going to see that here in a second. But when you turn it on, you're going to see it's going to bring up the radar for wherever you're at. We are obviously the blue dot, and you can see there's some thunderstorms that are moving through right now, and it's fairly early in the afternoon. What I like about this is you can go into the settings and you can pick some of the aviation settings, and I'll zoom out here and show you what I'm talking about. You can zoom out or zoom into any area that you want. So obviously, as we're looking at this, you're going to see some aviation weather type things. Up at the top, you're going to see the blue and red front line. So blue is a cold front, and then the alternating blue and red, that's the stationary front. You're going to see around Washington, D.C. on the right side of the screen, that's a TFR, or a temporary flight restriction area around Washington, D.C. IFR, instrument flight rules, are shaded in the pinkish colors there. What look like R's, those are thunderstorm, those are convective SIGMET areas. You'll see areas of low pressure and high pressure. You'll see the L that's just there in the Florida Panhandle. That means that's a low pressure system. So you'll be able to see quite a bit of it, and it's a moving map. And then as we move in closer, we'll show you a couple of other items. So as an example, we haven't talked about on this map yet, but you'll see this red circle here in the center. That is a temporary flight restriction, and if you tap on that, it should bring it up. And this is a permanent temporary flight restriction, but this is for Disney World. It will bring it up for any TFR that comes up or pops up, and it'll be overlaid on your map if you have that selected, as I do on this one, and it'll be in red typically. But you'll see that this will give you the entire text of the temporary flight restriction. It gives you the locations, it tells you what the rules are, etc. So pretty self-explanatory when you get in and read it. You'll also see, if we were to go over here to the coast, this big yellow area right next to the Space Center. Okay, again, another area. If we tap on that, it'll tell you it's a shuttle/mission launch. It'll give you the beginning and the ending dates and times, and it'll give you the altitudes as well. And then it'll give you all of the textual information for that TFR. But again, great little app. I think that you'll agree once you start using it. And it gives you the weather wherever you're at as well. If you look at the top of the screen, wherever I can put that set of crosshairs, it'll come up and it'll tell me where that's at, and it'll tell me what the temperature is and what the forecast is for coming up. But again, My Radar, great little app.